Hi everyone, and welcome back to Waterhouse Forde. This is just a quick and short, hopefully short video, requested by one of our viewers, Liz Judd, who has a similar mower. She has the 1438, and following the video that we did on rebuilding the cutting deck, is doing a similar job and has asked us to explain how one would go about leveling the cutting deck. Now, the cutting deck obviously runs, or it needs to be level both this way and also that way. So we're going to show you quickly how to do that, or at least how I do it, based on what I've learned over the sort of 4 years that we've had this mower. It's a quick and easy job. It is something that can be done yourself. And in fact, if you have one of these mowers, you'll find that you'll need to do it from time to time, especially if you take the deck off and need to put it back on again. So, as I say, this is just a quick video, and we'll show you as best we can. It's difficult to film that low down, that close to the floor, but we'll show you as best we can what you need to do, and of course we'll try to film us doing it as well. But follow along and let's see how we go. Right, now we're filming down on the floor effectively, under the deck, or looking at the deck. Now what you've got is you've basically got 3 points of adjustment. If I can try and get the angle in here. Okay, now the first one is this one here. You see you've got a lock nut and a nut on top. And basically that allows you see you've got a bit of thread there, so you can raise the deck on this side, on this corner. You've got another one back there, and you can just see one peeking out over there as well, on the other side. So you've got these 3 points of adjustment. Now, it's a bit strange that you've got 3 instead of 4, but the way that this works, if you look very carefully on that front one, you see the bar runs across to the back one over there. So from that one to that one. So those two work in tandem with each other. And this one at this side has the cable attached. So effectively, and so these two are joined with a bar, a pivoting point over there. So effectively, when you pull the cable up, when you move the height adjustment lever, it pulls or loosens that cable. Let me just get the camera to refocus. It pulls or loosens that cable. That causes the deck obviously to go down or to go up, and as this side moves, the bar forces that side to move, and then that adjuster forces the front to move, all in tandem effectively. Now, the way to set the level on your deck, well, first of all, let's just talk about why it's important to have your deck level. I think it should probably be quite obvious, but you want your grass obviously to be cut evenly, both front to back. Front to back is less important, but certainly kind of left and right. And that's even more important when you've got ground which is not entirely level, in other words where you've got hills or ground on a slope. And that's because inevitably you're going to land up turning on the slope. And as you turn, if your deck is not entirely level, one side lower than the other, if you're turning toward that side, what's going to happen is your deck can actually ground out, and that will scalp the lawn, as in take the tops off. And obviously that's not good for the grass. So how do we level the deck? Well, the way I do it, I set the front to back measurement first, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. And then I do the left and right. And as I say, the left to right is the more important measurement all around. The front to back will pretty much sort itself out. But in any case, because your blades are spinning reasonably fast and generally you're moving forward, even if the front is a little bit higher than the back, for example, the back will catch and give you the height, the grass length that you're looking for. But if it was wildly out, then obviously you can cause the mower to be, or you'll cause the engine to be laboured, because only one side of the blade will be cutting. So it'll be cutting on the back or on the front, depending on which way around you are. So it's important, but it's not critical. It's not crucial. The left to right really does need to be level. Right. So we're going to get on. I'm going to run you through the process, and you can see how we do it. Now, before we go ahead and actually set the height of the deck, it's just as important to check the tyre pressure. Now, the tyres on this look okay, but we're going to go through the process anyway and just check the tyre pressures anyway with a proper gauge. Okay, that's the tyres set. I set the back ones to 1 bar and the front ones to 1.5. You want a little bit more pressure in the front, which helps with the steering, makes the steering a bit lighter. And you want the back basically as low as you dare, without them actually deforming, because obviously you want the maximum surface contact, so you get maximum traction. So yeah, I tend to go with sort of 1 bar on the back and 1.5 in the front. You can go a little bit higher in the front if you want, but I found that works quite well. Right, so now we're going to set the deck. Now what we have, and what I like to do is, I've got these 3 blocks of wood. They've obviously cut from the same piece of wood. I don't know exactly what the measurement. So what's that? That's it's about 1 centimeter. So 10 millimeters. And what I do is basically use them as a guide. So put them just under the deck. What you want is one, let's see, we want one at the back. We want one at the front. And then we want one on the other side. Okay, you've got 3 adjustment points. And you want your blocks as close to the adjustment points as you can get. Now what we're going to do, we're going to lower obviously the height adjustment on the actual mower is at the lowest, so it's on number 1. So the deck is as close to the ground as it's going to be. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use these adjuster nuts to lower the deck onto those blocks, and then adjust it up slightly so they're just coming off that block, and basically that block is loose to move, but only just. So in other words, it's a tight fit between the deck and the ground, and that will make sure that we get all of the height adjustments correct. So we'll get on with that. Okay, Oscar, what I want you to do is to take the spanner.
Yeah.
Now, you see the block that's there?
Yeah, that one.
How loose is it?
Pretty loose.
Pretty loose. So you need to lower, you see that bolt there? The one on top?
That one. Oh, that one.
Yeah. You need to loosen that.
Okay.
So go the other way.
Oh, yeah.
Until the deck comes down and touches that block.
Okay.
Okay, Oscar, now loosen this one at the back here, so take it up as well. Now we're just checking the block. It's still loose, so we need to come a little bit more.
It's actually moving.
Yes. You're not turning very much, which is why it's not going very fast. Okay, let's check that.
It's definitely moving down. The
Yeah.
wheel's starting to engage.
Yeah, so that block is now, it's just touching, so that's about right, that's where we want it.
This one is too.
Yeah, so let's go around the other side now. Okay, now we want to loosen that one.
Hopefully it will bring it down again. Then we want to loosen and yeah.
Okay, just a little bit more, I think one more turn. Okay, stop now, feel the block.
Oh yeah.
So that's,
Oh, that was with pressure on. But that's like,
take it down a little bit more, please. We want the block to be just touching both the deck and the ground at the same time. Okay, I think we're just about there. We've managed to get, you basically just need to play with these three settings until you get all three sides as close to the same distance from the ground as you can. We've got a slight challenge here because our workshop floor is not particularly smooth, and that creates a bit of a challenge. We've had to kind of find three spots on the floor which we feel are as close to the same height as possible, and then use that as our reference. We're going with a 10mm gap between the bottom of the deck and the ground. You don't want it riding on the ground because obviously the blades stick out slightly from the bottom of the deck. So the blades are actually, from memory, about 4 or 5mm lower than the deck itself. So you do want a bit of a gap. Now bear in mind this is on the lowest setting, which you're hardly ever going to use when you're actually cutting. But it gives you, well, it's a good reference point to start from. So if your number one is pretty much as close to on the ground, so if you go to 10mm plus your 5 from the blade difference, you're about 5mm, which is obviously too short. You'd never cut your grass that short. But from there you can then adjust up to setting number 2, number 3, number 4, whichever you want on your actual mower. So we're going to tighten everything up now, and whilst we're here we're going to just re-grease and make sure that we've got fresh grease in the hubs. But other than that, that's the job done. So we'll get that sorted out, put the covers back on, and we'll give it a little test. Okay, we put a bit of grease in the hubs. You can see the grease just squeezing out of the telltale there. Now do remember, this is not standard. So this is a modification that we've made. If you watch our previous video when we were putting the deck together, what we've done is we put we drilled a hole, tapped it, and put a grease nipple in there, and then just above it made a little telltale hole, so we know when that hub is full of grease. Now these don't come standard with that. This is a modification that we made to try to keep the bearings, or to help the bearings to last a bit longer. Okay, well there you go. That's basically setting the height on the deck. Again, took a little bit of working out as we went. The key thing really is to adjust the three adjustments pretty much at the same time. So a little bit of movement on each one until you get it as level as possible. The other thing is, don't be afraid to use the locking nut to push it in the opposite direction if you need to. But that should now sort out the deck and make sure that it's running level, make sure it's cutting level, etc. And yeah, we're looking forward now to testing it. Okay, what I've done, I've cut just the one stripe, just so we can see how it's cut. We'll come down as close to ground level as we can, and as you can see, that looks pretty level all the way across. If anything, it may be a little bit high on the left hand side of the picture, but I suspect it's more the ground than it is the deck. So there we go, that's setting the height on the cutting deck on the Mountfield 1538M mower, and I think most of them are the same, very similar. Those adjustment bolts may be in a slightly different configuration or slightly different place, but generally that's how you set the cutting deck height, or level rather than height. Okay everybody, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video. Cheers for now.